to see you.
Yeah.
Hey, Rock, long time no see, brother.
Still here, good.
Yeah. Stallion's back. Hey,
It's like a party here.
yeah, right. Welcome back.
Yeah, thank you very much.
How's it feel?
Good.
Were you making a comeback?
No.
Hey, Chip.
Hey, Pete, what's up?
Didn't know you were coming by.
I didn't need it. I was just in
Oh, they're the real ones. 9 years old, and then, I don't know, 40-something years old. About 48 there. Yeah. So I went from the movie that made me want to be a fighter to where the movie that I played myself. And they're both Rocky films, so kind of my whole world came full circle. Yeah, well, yeah.
I love Tulsa.
Well, welcome again to episode 2 of Joey I's Eye on the Prize. And we always have to have, I always want to have that opening with
Great.
Stallone.
I have a story for that.
What's that?
I have a story for that.
I wonder, really?
Nah, me? Do I have a story?
Oh, no, I can't believe it. You know, you're going to be okay with this, Joey. I think you're
No,
I'm
good at
too
this.
shy.
No, I don't know. You know.
Welcome again, everyone, to episode 2 for Joey I. This is for his dedicated YouTube page, Facebook, and we're doing this one on Halloween in 2024, and hopefully the rest of the year is going to be, you know, a lot of great one with some special guests.
Yes.
And we're going to be talking about, with that opening, I know we have some pictures of you actually being in that was Rocky 2, correct?
Yes.
And you were actually in the him running up the steps again.
Yes. Yep. Yeah. Down the parkway, up the steps. We must have run up down those steps 1,000 times that day. And nobody seemed to get tired, though. We all wanted to get there first.
Yeah. So this is actually a wide shot of Stallone going up. There's a kid behind him, and then you're the little guy on the left, which we're going to go in there.
Yeah.
So that's how this gets started again. I know we talked about it last time, but go back for other people who may not have seen this, how this all came about.
It came about that I ran track, and you know I didn't play any of the other sports. My mother didn't want me to play football. I was too small. I tried basketball, but I was too short for that, and which was my father's dream because he was a really great basketball player. But I ran track, and I did pretty good at it. And I had a little certain way I ran. My friends and all the other guys who we ran with used to call it the Entreri hustle. And they came to our school, though, the production company for Rocky 2. And I didn't know what they were there for, but they were picking all the athletes, and they brought us all into a room, and they were going around asking each kid, what did they do, this and that. So when they got to me, they said, what sport do you play? I said, I don't play any sport. And they were like, well, why are you here? I said, well, they told me to come in because I run track. And they went, oh, you run track. What, do you want to run with Rocky? I said, who, Rocky who? And they said, Rocky Balboa in the movie. I said, sure, I'll do it. And I jumped at the chance, and we loaded up a bunch of us in a car. I think it was my aunt or something had taken us down, and in a big station wagon. And we wound up down there, and they dropped us off, I think on the Parkway. And we ran down the Parkway all the way up through Center City and the whole thing. And, you know, and it was pretty cool. You know, we just kept, you know, everybody was chasing after them. And at that one scene where where you see him break away from all the kids and he takes off real fast. The problem with that scene was everybody was getting so close to him and like grabbing at him and running up to him and the guys in the van with the camera like waving us to go back. And nobody was going back, so they sped up the van and told him to run away from everybody. And there's actually you kind of can see in the editing of a little blip where he's like he runs away, but you don't see any of the kids. Like it was like as if they were far away from him already, but we weren't. And there's one kid I remember. I think it's a friend of mine named Billy. He's the kid who was yelling "Go, go, go" when you hear him yell, and he takes off, and then we chase him up the art museum steps, and I kept getting my little legs were getting me up them 72 steps there. One of the first kids all the time. And he just reached down at one point. I was pressed up against him. I'd say, in a nice way, I think I was pressed up against his genitals. And, because I was so little. And he just reached down, picked me up, put me on his shoulder. And he's like, oh, how you doing? And I was like, oh, my God. And like I always tell people, they said cut, he put me down, and that probably put me down because I probably peed on him. I was so excited, you know. But
and as they say,
you
the
know,
rest is history.
rest is yes, because seriously, the rest is history. I mean, that totally, like, what do you want to call it? Like, just made my life the way it went. And you know, it was, and he, you know, and I even had told him when we were making Creed that, you know, he inspired me and he inspired a lot of people. You know, he said, "Yeah, I know. I'm the cause for a lot of Italians that have brain damage." I said, "Yeah, you are." I said, "Yes, you are." But and he remembered it when I said to him, I was like, you know, last time we were this close, I was sitting on your shoulders. He was like, "Oh my God, 1979. Now you're that little kid I put on my shoulders." I said, "Yeah, if you hadn't done that, we wouldn't be here." And he's like, "Why?" And I'm like, "Oh, come on." I said, I thought you were real. No offense. I said, but you know, I wanted to be like Rocky, and you know, and I didn't fight too much better than that either. I said, but you know, it made me, you know, made me make my father take me to the gym because he had been trying to get me to go to the gym because I was getting beat up all the time. And I had a friend that went to that same gym, the Kensington Ramblers gym, and he kept saying, "Come to the gym with me, come to the gym with me." And I said, "Why? I'm going to get beat up there too. I don't want to fight." But the minute that happened, and then seeing the movie too, when I was a little kid and seeing myself in the movie, it just, you know, that kind of molded two things, you know, love for boxing and love to be in the movies too. So it's like it really like full circled all the way around. You know, for me to be in Rocky 2, it molds my life like that. Then 30 some years later, they call me up to play myself in Creed and be the technical advisor. I was like wow, like, oh my God. So I'm part of the Rocky franchise, I guess you would say.
Very nice. But as we touched a bit on the first episode, that you had very humble beginnings in the city of Philadelphia. I won't say exactly where in Philadelphia, have everybody wondering. But here we go.
Yeah. Oh, wow. Yeah, I think that was like my first Christmas or something. Yeah. And man, my family, you know, made sure I had everything. You can even see, look, I had a bottle of Old Granddad in the back, you know. My father was a mailman, so, you know, they gave it, you know, they always were giving him.
Now, you mentioned a little story right before this picture was taken about being in Catholic school. Give us a little about what happened here.
Now, when I went to Catholic school, the nuns, you know, back then in the 70s, they still hit you. And they would beat the hell out of me. I had a mouth, obviously. I was the same way I am. They told me I never make nothing out of myself because I talk too much. Well, I wish they were alive now. I could tell them, look, I'm doing podcasts. But they didn't. One of the reasons they didn't like me was because my aunt was a nun, and she was at that school when I first got there. She was like a rebel nun. She was like the cool nun.
What school was this? What
St.
school was
Helena. St. Helena's.
In what part of Philadelphia?
In Albany. So that's
Okay.
like north. Yeah. So my aunt was my father's twin was a nun there. But she was like this cool nun that the other nuns didn't like because she would bring in Neil Diamond music and have the kids listen to it and everything. She's actually mentioned in a book called Only Boys See UFOs, and it's a whole book about growing up in the 70s and 80s in Philly. And there's a whole chapter to my aunt, Sister Joseph Andre, because she was like this like crazy rebel nun. And they didn't like her. So she leaves. And who they have to take it out on? Me. And that picture you see, I was in 5th grade, and they handed out combs to all of us, right? And trying to get a comb through my hair was ridiculous, right? So we were standing there in line, and I was and they did it by size. So I was like first or second in line. And we're pretending we're combing our mustaches. And, you know, obviously we didn't have mustaches. I mean, I was probably all shaven a little bit at that point. By the time I was 10, I was shaving. But, you know, we're standing there going like this. And who she picked, she probably figured I was the ringleader of it. And she just comes right across from behind and wham, smacks me barehanded right in the face, right on my right eye. And like if you really look at it, I had, you know, a big red mark on my face, and that fast they're like, oh, we need the next person, and it was me, and the nuns go, get up there. My eyes are water, and I'm going, oh my God, you know, and it didn't stop me from doing it ever again, but you know, they tried. I mean, they really tried to civilize me, I guess, if that's what you want to call it, you know, and you know. What a way to teach the teachings of God, by disciplining the living hell out of you.
Yes.
Oh
So
yeah.
where did you end up going to high school?
I went to Cardinal Doherty. I
And
went to Mercy Tech first, but that was like a vocational school. But there was way too. I was getting in a fight there every day, and I was doing okay too. At that point I was boxing, but it was like, and I'm going, I don't want to go to this school. I'm like every day I'm getting, so I wound up getting transferred and going to Cardinal Doherty.
And you survived that.
No, yeah.
So now you say you got into boxing right after high school?
No, before high school. I was you saw it when I was 9 years old. That day, I'm not even joking. The next day that we done filming that Rocky 2 scene,
Wow.
I said to my father, now he didn't even ask why, because he'd say, maybe you should go, he'd learn how to box, and he would try to show me stuff and whatever. And I go, I don't want to. But as soon as I got to sit on his shoulders, Stallone's shoulders, I went home and told my dad, now I'm ready to go to the gym. He went, okay, good. Took me down the gym, and I remember it was like a killer deal he got. He thought this was the greatest. I think it was like at the time, it was $10 and you got a t-shirt. I still have that damn t-shirt somewhere. I think it might be in the museum. I forget, but it's like in pieces practically. But it was like $10. And my father was like, a week or a month? And they went, a year. He was like, here, keep them. He was like, great. Wow, that was cheap. Because, you're playing football, baseball, whatever. It costs you all this money for all the equipment and this and that. They were just like, he needs a mouthpiece. And we didn't even really need that. That gym was like such a poor type gym. It was just, makeshift ring and everything. And there was a mop bucket, and it was filled with Listerine. So every time I take regular flavored Listerine, it comes right back to me. They would be filled with Listerine, and there'd be mouthpieces all in it. And if you were going to spar, you just went over, and at the end of the night, they would let everybody pair up and spar with each other. You'd reach in, grab a mouthpiece. No, I don't want that one. Yeah, okay, I'll take this one. So I mean, we don't even have our own mouthpieces, but that was great to go in there and and get the opportunity, and just to be around it was great.
I didn't really realize it was that early at 9 years old. But obviously, you went up through the ranks, and so from that, how did you end up getting into? So how many fights did you actually be a part of?
Oh God, amateurs. I don't even remember. I'd have to find the damn passbook thing. But we used to do like even when they didn't even count like exhibitions back then. Like you would do on shows, and there'd be like a couple fights, and then a bunch of other guys were doing exhibitions. I mean, there must have been I don't even remember. Coming up from that age all the way till I was like 22, something like that, just about 23 by the time I turned pro. Yeah, so I mean, we did the diamond belt and all that stuff. I had fought. I get a nice credit for this all the time from them when I say I'll take it. I wasn't a real good fighter. Like I said, I probably fought like Rocky, with my face, and I get this face eating Cheerios, So, and when we were kids, I fought Ivan Robinson, who he wound up being a world champion, and he beat Arturo Gatti twice in the pros, and I always would laugh, and I'd say, "Come on, I want that third fight," because I eventually wound up being his cut man years later. And when we were kids, though, he said to me after, he's like, out of anybody he ever fought, Julio Cesar Chavez, Arturo Gatti, Angel Manfredi, he said the hardest hitting lightweight that ever hit him was me. And I said, okay, well, I'll take that then. And he said, I'm still hurting. He said, my ribs still hurt. I said, okay. I said, he said, that's why me and you will never, because over the years they would ask us to do like charity events. And he was like, I'll fight anybody, but I'm not going in there with Joey. And his nickname was Mighty Mouse. And I was using that name too at the time when we were kids. And but after he beat me twice, I was like, well, I guess he gets to keep that name. He's Mighty Mouse. I said, so I kid with him. I say, yeah, you're Mighty Mouse. I'm Muscles Mouse. So but big honor that a guy who was a world champion will tell me that, that I hit harder than anybody else that he got hit by.
So while you were doing this and up until your teens, what was your full-time job? Was it the construction?
Oh my God. All the way up from when I was probably 10 years old on, I always worked. My mother, strict woman, was like, we're not giving you any, any allowance anymore or anything like that. You're old enough. Go get a paper route or something, right? Do something. So I said, all right. So I'm thinking to myself, what can I do? And I was in the basement of my parents' house, and my father always was like, because he had been in the military, he was like 8 years in the Army, and he always was shining his shoes, and making them look like mirrors, And he had a shine box in the basement. So I thought, you know what? And I said to my cousin, we wanted to make some money, make model cars or something, or go-karts. We needed money to make, and we were like, we got to figure out a way. And I said, hey, how about this? There was a beach chair, one of them with the nylon, the old ones, and my father's shoe shine box. And I said, you know what? Let's go up to Fifth and Holly where the bus stop is, and that was like the center hub of the neighborhood. And I said, let's go shine shoes. And he was like, yeah, let's do it. So the first day we got out there, we did all right. I think we were shining shoes for like 50 cents, and we we're getting you're getting all dirty with all the shoe shine and everything. And end of the day, we get done and we had some money for what we wanted to do. And my cousin says, he goes, I don't want to do that no more. It's too dirty. Hence, he became an auto mechanic years later. But he didn't want. He said that's too dirty. I said I'm going back tomorrow. We used to go back, and I used to go and shine shoes. And on the way home, I would go in the corner bars, and I knew everybody in there from my father hanging out in the corner bars. And I would go in and I'd shine their shoes. And then some guys would be like, I got sneakers on, leather sneakers. They were starting to come out back then. So I had a little squirt bottle with bleach in it and a rag. I'd clean them up for them. They'd give me tips, and everything. And that was like my first job as a shoe shine, kid on the corner. And I started delivering the Bulletin, delivering the Daily News, the Inquirer. I was mowing lawns. I started working for a real estate agency. Me and two of my friends, and guy would buy foreclosed houses in the neighborhood, and we would do all the work on them. Paint a lot of the painting, carpentry, cement work, anything that we could, he needed done, we were doing them for him. And then got about 89, I started my own business. Called myself the Godfather of Cement. And so I was doing all over in South Philly. I was doing doing some cement contracting, brick, block, stucco, stone, tile, digging out cellars. That's what we were doing. I think in that picture right there. And brick pointing, anything that had to do with any kind of cement, I did it, and I did it for years.
So did you ever have a day off? It seems like you worked 7 days.
No, because even when I was doing that, I also, like I said, I was fighting. So I was training and fighting. And then when I blew my knee out, I had this in the ring and I had to stop. I needed something else, and like I said, became a cut man. But even then, still, something about, I think that prematureness of having to leave the ring. There's like this void because nothing ever, and I'm going to tell you, nothing takes the place of that. That people cheering your name and you're in that ring, win or lose. And there's no stage other like that could take the place. And I've done it. I've been in movies, plays, several different. I could count the businesses like way longer than my arm that I've been involved with and had. Restaurants, pizza places, repair shops, you name it. I've done it. And different ventures of, like I said, with movie things. And I've done plays. I didn't even like to do plays, but I figured I'll do it just because maybe something would take that place of being the fighter that's in the ring. And nothing ever does, man. Not a damn thing. But not a day goes by that I regret anything. I mean, I moved on. If you sit back, you're just going to live in the past. So I don't live in the past that, my knees didn't hold up for me. That, but, there is that void that always was, what if type thing. But but you have to move on, and I've always been just moving on, and I've always had 2 and 3 jobs, businesses, really, not just jobs, since I was a late teen. Like I said, I own an auto salvage business, but I had that when I was still doing cement work. But my doctor had said to me, he's giving me shots every 3 months of my hands just so I could work. And he said, "Don't you do something with cars?" I said, "Yeah," and he said, "Well, do that." He said, "Stop doing this cement work stuff, and don't be holding pads for guys in the gym." Which again, I've had 7 gyms over the years too, all while running other businesses too. So, yeah, I have a boxing writer friend. His name is George. He's from Jamaica, and he always swears that I must be part Jamaican because Jamaicans always have like 7 and 8 jobs.
Well, on a personal note, you mentioned about in a week you have a certain date coming up with a special person that actually.
Oh, I know that girl. Yeah.
What's her name? How old you? I know it's a fascinating story about how you met. And what are you going to be coming up with? Your 30th anniversary?
30th anniversary on the 5th will be coming up. 30 years. Can you imagine 30 years? It's over 30 years of putting up with me. But she everybody always said when I'm trying to make fun and say, "Oh, my wife, yeah. Oh, how you doing? I'm married." And they go, "Oh, give me a break. Your wife's a saint." I'm like, "I know." I'm like, I can never get away with that joke.
What's her name?
Nancy.
Nancy.
Yes, just like Nancy Sinatra. And yes, there we are. I might have been like on one of our honeymoon things. I don't remember, but yeah, that's a long time ago. But she, that now there's a funny story. I just like in Rocky 2. It's kind of like I was in it twice. I was in the movie, but when we got married, we lived down the street from our house was right down the street from Paradise Gardens Catering Hall where we got married. We had the reception, and she didn't know I was going to do it, but I picked her up. Somebody snapped that picture. I walked right out those doors and walked up about a block up to our house on Mole Street. And the neighbors all came out and they saw, and they were clapping and cheering, and brought her in the house just like in Rocky did in Rocky 2. Just like you said, I think it's good for the arms or something, But yeah, we met like by accident type thing, and it just was. And again, I keep telling her all the time, I was, if it wasn't for boxing, I would not have met you. And we wouldn't have these kids and 4 kids. And I said, so, Rocky 2, when I'm running there, I say, you guys got to watch it every time. I said, because I was supposed to have gone to the shore for the weekend. My car was in the shop. A friend was supposed to pick me up. He doesn't pick me up, gets in an argument with his girlfriend or something. I'm sitting in my apartment going, now what am I supposed to do? And a guy I knew that was one of the guy that helped train me, this guy named Jack. He happened to be driving by my apartment, and I lived at 17th and Passyunk across from the gas station, and he looked up and saw the lights were on. So he thought, hey, he's supposed to be away. He calls me up on my house number, and I said, yeah. And I said, Nicky forgot me. I don't know what the hell happened. And all we had were like pagers back then, so I'm trying to get him, and he never answered. Call me back. So he goes, well, what are you going to do? I said, I don't know. Nothing, I guess. Where am I going to go? And he said, well, come with me. I'm going to the Coral Reef in Jersey. I said, I don't want to go to that place. I said, come on. It's a bunch of old people. Now, shit, I'm probably older now than the people were, that I was calling old. But he said, no, come on, go. What are you going to just sit in your apartment? I said, all right. So I got changed and I went. I go in there, and one of the only people that was the same age as me, actually the only person was my wife. Saw her across the room. Figured I'd go over. I'm thinking so I made a short joke, which is if you get them to laugh right out of the gate, boom, you got them. And she laughed, and the rest is basically history. And it was a small world too. My friend who had left me hanging was her best friend's husband's brother, and they had all gone to school together and everything. It was like such a small world that we knew all the same people, but never ran into each other until we were in some half-ass nightclub in New Jersey. And the rest, as they say, is history.
And that club that I knew myself is no longer there.
No,
Coral Reef, right?
I think
Coral Reef.
Yeah, called Italian Lightning, as they say.
Yeah, the good old Reef. Then they said, "Oh,
Yeah.
they were going to rebuild it," and no,
Yeah,
no,
Philly
no.
had it. Yeah, yeah. Now it's just an empty lot. Pass it every day.
And then it was '06. It's 18 years it's gone
Yeah.
because I remember I always used to be going to Adelphia with Bob Pantano, and that's where he used to do the show from. And then he actually moved it from there to Adelphia's.
Don
ever
Cannon,
since.
that even. Yeah. But
Oh yeah,
and then when I got engaged to my wife, and she always says it's not the most romantic thing because I'm the way I am. We were going to go down the shore that the weekend, and it was the weekend. It was like our 1-year anniversary of meeting, so it was Memorial Day weekend. So I pulled up in front of the Coral Reef, and she's like, "What are we doing here?" I go, "Well, this is where we met." She's like, "I know that," and I said, "Yeah." I said, "Well, here," and I handed her a box, and she said, "What's this?" I said, "We're going to get married." She, start crying, hugging me, whatever. To this day, though, now she tells people, "Oh, he didn't get down on one knee and he didn't ask me." I said, "I don't ask for nothing." I said, "If I want it, I take it." I said, "If I had any idea that you might not want to marry me, you think I was going to spend all that money and go buy a ring and go, gee, I hope she wants to marry me?" I knew damn well we both wanted to marry each other. And that was it. And we, and I know that, like I said, it's not the most romantic thing, but she didn't have any problems then. You know what I mean?
be married 30 years, and I'm not
Yeah.
one for saying about marriages. And
You
but
know, yeah.
congratulations. So when's your actual date?
You know what? We get along so well because, and I knew this about her. She never tell me what to do ever. I pulled some goofy stunt one time when I first had met her. We went away. A bunch of us went away to a friend's place who had a mountain house, and it was like 4th of July or something, and they had a big bonfire, and a hollowed out tree. And I mean, it had the flames are shooting 4 feet in the air, and there was one of the little electric mini bikes, and somebody a gas mini bike, and somebody's, "Hey Joe, we found your motorcycle, ha ha ha," because it was so little. I said, "All right." Somebody goes, "I bet you $50 you can't jump over that fire." I said, "You're on." I jumped over the fire. I said, "Double or nothing." They said, "Dude, you can't do it." And I keep doing it. I'm doing it. And as I'm about to do it one time, one of the girls, my friend's girlfriend, said to my wife, "You let him do this?" And she said, "You guys know him better than I do. Nobody could tell. I would never tell him what to do." And I was like, "That's the girl I'm going to marry."
Nice. Well, Joe, right before we started, you gave me some really good news. You have a couple of people that were really impressed by the first episode that want to be a part of this as a sponsor. You want to talk a little bit about who might be part of us in the next couple episodes?
Yeah, well, we definitely have Jimmy's Timeout Bar up there in Northeast Philly at 5001 Linden Ave. They got real good food, pizzas. They even have a pizza named after me. It's called the Joey Eye Pie. It's a provolone pie. It's like my version of what I used to make. And it's a boxing bar. So what other place to meet? Guys like me at a boxing bar. And we meet every Monday night in the back room, and it's called the Ringside Room in there. And we have a club called the Philadelphia Pugilists Association. So we're the PPA, but we're the good PPA, the one people like. But we try to help raise money for kids and things like that for fights if they need gloves or go to a tournament, which we're doing actually this Saturday where we're having a fundraiser. But Jimmy's Timeout, they're a big supporter of me. And I even in one of my corner jackets I wear their logo and everything in the fights for them. And so yeah, they said, and they would love us to be there for some of the on the road type podcasts.
And
So
actually, I think the next one we could do, because remember how I actually met you after I had
right there. We met it.
And I have some footage there of some of the guys talking with Russell, yourself. That's where that I'm on. And I could actually show some of the footage from there on our next one on episode 3. Yeah. And, lead into that we really thank them for wanting to come on board and be sponsors.
Yeah, we're there. Like I said, all ex-boxers and people involved in the business and whatever. And, everybody gets along great. Just don't ring a bell. You know what I mean? Think a fight might break out. But yeah, Jimmy's is a great place. Jimmy Hasher runs it, and it's him and his family. Great group of people. We always run into people we know up there. It's a really nice place. Like I said, and the food and everything's great. Prices are reasonable. I mean, I'm trying to sell it here, but I don't need to.
Yes, they were. We're exactly now for people who may be watching this, whoever if they're in the Philadelphia area, where exactly is this?
They are right off of the Academy Road exit off of I-95 in Northeast Philly. They are on 5001 Linden Avenue. So it's at Linden and State Road down by the river. And you come right off the exit and you're like, you almost smack into the place. So it's so easy to get to, and it's a good place. And, they have, they'll show fights, they'll show cage fights, they'll show, all the different, the football, baseball, everything, hockey, whenever the big games are, they make a big deal. They do a big thing for the Kentucky Derby every year, a whole outdoor thing. We have cigar nights there sometimes. It's a really good spot.
So yeah, before I actually met you that night, my cousin and myself actually went up there a little bit earlier, about 6 o'clock. I knew you guys got there about 7, and we partake there some of their wings, which were absolutely amazing, and nice salad. We had a nice salad. We always say nice.
Yeah,
so, yes.
Fresh, yeah, very good. Yeah, and they hook us up all the time. They're like, when we come in, they treat us like gold because we're like royalty to them because we're the ex-fighters and the trainers and promoters and managers and all that,
Well, we're going to be treating them like gold too for them to be a sponsor. Well, actually, you don't mind taking your little logo, Eye on the Prize logo off and putting them up there for the next one, right?
No, I don't. You can, and I have it on my shirt today too.
Cool. Now you have one other one that's actually personal to you, another sponsor that's going to come on board. All we have is a logo, but you tell us a little bit more about that.
Sure. Tommy's Original, it's called. That's a barbershop in Haddonfield, New Jersey on Haddon Avenue. My son is one of their barbers. My son Jojo, he's a really good barber. They do everything. They do shaves, they do fades, they do all kinds of haircuts. And Tommy, a good, real nice guy, young guy, and but he's got they probably got one of the top barbershops in the area, and I stop by her. They always tell me, my wife says, don't go over there and bother him. He's working. I go, they want me to come over there. We go over there and I bullshit with them. We tell a story, whatever. And they said, Joe, whatever you're doing, we want to be involved. We want to help. I said, yeah, because I basically, as they say in boxing, I whore myself out for them on my back of my corner jacket. I got Tommy's Original there, and so it's advertising for them all the time. But they're going to be a sponsor, and also they asked for us to come and do a podcast while they're working and they're cutting hair, and we do one of our podcasts.
See, that's the great thing about this medium here. You could be anywhere in the country. Now, I'm in California. You're back there in New Jersey. But then as long as you have a good laptop that has good Wi-Fi, we could do it anywhere, and we'd love to have them on there. So yeah, we're looking forward to that for the next couple episodes to have them come on as a sponsor, and maybe anywhere else down the road we could accommodate them. Because I know, Joe, you have a name out there, and they all want to be associated. So I actually thank you for that. Because it's not like you have to, they come to you actually rather than you go to them.
They seem to, yeah. People think, I don't know. I'm like the Pied Piper or something. It seems like, but I guess it's a good thing. I think I kind of got some of that, rubbed off from my father, even though we weren't, I was adopted, but he was the kind of guy who always wanted to be everybody's friend. He didn't want to have anybody not like him. And he just had that in him. Right. Yeah, there he is right there. We called him Pop Eye. So, right. And so he, hell of a guy, real guy, nice, great guy. He was a mailman for like 35 years. And, but he always same thing, try to make you laugh, try to, say, like I got a lot of mannerisms and things from him. Like I said, even though we weren't biologically connected, but and if somebody would say, like, when I was a kid growing up, and they say, "Oh, that's your kid," and yeah, he don't look like you. That's my son. He would say, "That's it. That's all you need to know." And he was like, he got really, he made me. My brothers and sisters were like kind of jealous because he always made me feel like I was his, I was his pal. I was his favorite. He always called me pal, and but he made sure that I felt like I was part. You know what I mean? And but he always backed me on everything I ever did in my life. Anything I wanted to do.
Your career and how it took off.
What'd you say?
How did he feel about you getting involved with the movies and
He was like, what the hell you want to do that for? Those people are nuts. And I said, yeah, well, don't I fit that? And he was like, yeah, you're right. And he goes, gonna make any money? I said, yeah, my father, as long as you made money, whatever you did, he didn't care. He didn't care if you were a garbage man, a bookie, a loan shark, or a lawyer, or a doctor. Well, however you made a living, you made a living. And he didn't question anybody, as long as and you were happy with what you were doing. And he always wanted me, push me to, supported me with always being in business for myself. And he because he was a mailman, and and I probably maybe he just didn't want me to be the mailman, the same. He wanted me to go out on my own and do it for myself.
So who else are you with here with this picture with your dad?
That's my middle son. That's my son who's the barber. So how funny is that? Now he's gigantic tank now, but there he was. I think that was his first Halloween.
It's ironic we're doing this on Halloween.
Yeah, right. Yeah, and we lived on 13th Street in 13th and Rittner. And
Wow.
yeah, so that was his. So let's see. He was born in 2000. So that is
24 years ago.
of 2000. Yep. Yeah,
Wow.
he was born in April of 2000. So yeah, that was his first Halloween. And yeah, and he still kind of looks the same, just really big.
It'll be great to have him on there as a sponsor and actually talk, father and son, and about that. So in a little bit
and everything, he was a wrestler and everything. So he he's really into it.
Yeah, I want to get into, I know in the next 10, 15 minutes till our next one. You mentioned about how long ago did this happen where a specific fighter lost a certain appendage during a box? That I want to get into that, and because we could talk, obviously, for days, but we're going to do it for the limited time we're going to have. So I'm going to put this up here.
Yes. That was.
Where was this exactly around? How long ago?
I was in South Philly at the 2300 Arena. And it was a cage fight, it was MMA, and it was for CFFC, Cage Fury Fighting Championships. And they are like, they're the next step to get to the UFC. So if you win a title there, you pretty much go, they call you and you go to the UFC. So these are like top end, real good MMA fighters. And these guys, a lot of them are just tougher than shoe leather. And this guy, he was from Siberia. And he was in the fight, and the guy had got into his glove and started to pull. And you're not supposed to do that, but he was, but like I always say, if the ref didn't see it, it ain't cheating, right? So he was in there pulling, and he admitted that he felt something disconnect. So he went back again and pulled again, and he wound up ripping the guy's finger off. And he comes back to the corner. And he had a cut on the side of his head, his scalp. And the doctor's pointing at it going, hey, Joe, you got to stop this. And I said, I'll work on that. I got to work on this first. And the guy just put his hand out and said, looked me right in the eye and just said, fix. I said, well, I can stop it, but you're not fighting. He goes, no. You'll fix, I fight. I said, no. So I went to work on it. I'm getting this up. But at the same time, I hear all this screaming. Oh my God, the finger, he's lost a finger. Where is it? And they're like, looking for it. And I was like, oh my God, these people are idiots. And the commentators are screaming. They're looking around under the cage, out in the audience. And I'm like, it's right here. Relax. It was stuck in the back inside of the glove. And so I said to the doctor and everybody else, I said, look, we're not taking this glove off. We're not cutting the hand wraps off. I said, I got ice on it. I got it stopped. I said, I got, the fingers here. I said, I wrapped it in a cold, wet towel. I said, got to get them right down the street to Broad Wolf to the Methodist Hospital. And I bet you my life, they can put this back on. I got it on ice. If you get right there, they can put his finger back on. And people go, oh, no, just get him there. I actually walked with him. The promoter asked me, could you go walk with him out to the, he's on the stretcher. I'm like, yeah, no problem. So I'm walking out with him and I said, it's going to be okay. And he says, no, it's okay. No big deal. Like as if he broke a fingernail. And I was like, oh my God, they took him there and they put it back on and they said, whoever did what they did saved your finger. They told him, and they sewed it back on, and 3 months later, he was back to fighting. 3 months.
Now, I've seen many fights in my years and watched it, but I never heard of a guy losing a finger.
And that's what people said, and everybody said, and of course, I was involved, and I didn't even know. I'm the way I am. The next day is the next day. I'm not even paying attention to the last thing, and people were calling me on the phone the next afternoon, and I was getting ready because there was a double header show that they were doing. They did one, it was like a Friday night, the next one was a Saturday or whatever it was, Thursday or Friday, whatever. And I'm getting ready to go back there to do another cage fight for the same company. And people were calling me on the phone saying, "You're on TMZ." I went, "Oh God, what the hell did I do now?" I'm like, "Why am I on TMZ?" And they said, "Oh, the finger." I went, "Oh, that." And they were like, "Yeah." So I put on the TV, and there they are showing the whole thing. And they're making a big deal that they thought it was in the audience. But I'm telling you, if Russia ever comes over here and takes us over, we're in trouble because they are just tough son of a bitches. That guy had no finger. He's standing there and he wanted to keep fighting. He was mad. He couldn't keep fighting. He felt like, I don't think he cared if he ever got the finger sewed back on.
Well, that's an amazing story, And now when I saw that, you showed me the pictures of it. It's like, okay, it's true.
Oh, it's true. Wow, you're never gonna. I might have a funny way of telling a story, but I ain't lying. There's no reason why.
And when you see the actual documented, piece, and then you see the actual picture with there's no finger there, that's So
and that next day when I went to the fights again, oh my God, that's all anybody could talk about. And they're coming to me, going, "Oh, Joe," I'm like, yeah. Well, the guy lost a finger. What else you want? He lost a finger. That's it. It was gone. Don't worry about it. But he got it sewn back on. I had a picture somewhere. I might have sent you. Where it was sewn back on immediately, and and he went back to fighting, and he tough son of a bitch, man.
Yeah. So Joe, we're now almost, you could say we're on the beginning of November. We got 2 more, month before with Thanksgiving.
Beginning of November.
Yes. And you say you have some exciting possible guests lined up, but you also have another fighter, Ray Mancini, that actually set this and has got back to you about some possibilities.
Yeah, he expressed interest when I sent it to him. I said, check it out and whatever. And he right away said, "Oh, I love the logo. I love the aspects of it, whatever." So me and him go back a long ways. We did some movies and things together.
That's in the middle now, right?
Yes. Yep. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. The other guy's a friend of mine, named Nick. But yeah. Ray's a real good guy. He that was when we did the movie The Nail together. It was a boxing movie that was done in Philadelphia. They had the cheesesteak guy, Tony Luke. He was supposed to have been an ex-heavyweight fighter, went to jail. And so we had to make him kind of look like he had been a fighter and all this. And it was one of those, like, he teaches a kid, how to box and to defend himself. But Ray made like a cameo in it. And we did a few things like that together over the years, movies like that. But probably one of the nicest, smartest guys I ever met.
Who's some of the other people and other things you might be able to line up to let people know what we're going to have maybe between now and the end of the year in 25?
I'm looking to line up Vinny Pazienza, also five-time champion from Providence. He's another buddy of mine that but him and Ray don't get along, so I can't have them on at the same time. But and I really would like to get. He's a character and a half. I'd like to get Chuck Zito on. If anybody knows that, he's been in movies and everything. He's had some involvement with boxing over the years, but he was like a Hell's Angel that like he's just bigger than life type guy. And we did a couple different movies here, and I was on that show Oz one time, and he was one of the main guys in the show. But he'd be a great, sit down and chop it up, as we say, and then I have a few other fighters from the area that I'd like to get on. There's an up and coming kid, Italian kid from Jersey, named Damian Tinarelli. He's coming up pretty good. I want to sit down with a guy who actually promotes him, who's still fighting himself, who I've been with since he was like 12 years old. Thomas, they call him Thomas Cornflake Lamana. He's fought for a world title a couple times. He's just a really really good kid, and he's been promoting. So I work a lot of his shows for him, and then I'm also his cut man when he's still fighting. And so he's got some other events coming up. He just did a show at the Prudential Center a couple weeks ago. They had 12 fights on it. It was a really good show. Pretty good crowd for the Prudential Center. That's Damian Tenorelli right there with his father. And though they're both good guys, his father's originally from Brooklyn. And if you talk to him, you damn sure can tell he's originally from Brooklyn. But yeah, I just worked his fight a few weeks back at the Prudential, and he stopped the guy, and I think it was the second round. And he's in the Air Force, so he's a dedicated kid, and like to sit down with him and his father and talk some boxing and Italian heritage and all that other good type of stuff. And also, I have a confirmation for the sculptor of the Joey Giardello statue, the Jersey Joe Walcott statue, and soon to be, I don't know when, but the Joey I statue. So for some reason, he's got a thing for guys named Joe, but he's going to make a sculpture of me in action, where I was working a corner. And he said it's going to be me all the way down to the tattoos in the bronze. I don't know how they do that stuff, but they're going to make a mold of my ugly face. So they'll make a gorilla cookie out of my face, and it will be me. And I'm hugely honored. I can't believe he called me to ask me if that was okay. I said, you really think you have to ask if you could make a statue of me? I said, you got to be kidding me. I said, what the hell did I ever do that I deserve a statue? And he said, no, you've always been an interesting character to me. And I've known him for a long time because he would come and work out in the gym and everything. He's a real artsy type guy. So, he would come around. He loved boxing. He would spar with guys and everything, and work out. And very interesting guy. So we're going to do the interview right across the street from where the Joey Giardello statue is, in the Philadelphia Italian Immigration Museum, which has me enshrined in. So it'd be nice to sit around and we can go over some of my stuff that's there and talk about, the statue and everything that he's got for some reason lined up for me.
Well, it looks like there's not going to be anything that, there's going to be quite a few things to be able to talk about between now and the end of the year and in 2025. Yeah. Well, and now we're already into 47 minutes and we haven't even scratched any surface, but we're going to hold some of this other stuff back for more episodes, and we want people to come back, right? Correct?
Oh, yeah, definitely.
Most definitely.
I don't want to bore anybody.
I don't think they're going to be bored, and I wonder if Joe, I think it could be good here,
See, right. See, weren't those nuns wrong?
I know.
Because I was a class clown. I wouldn't shut my mouth. And like I said, they tried to beat the hell out of me to get it done. One of them actually even broke my finger one time.
So, Joe, now this is
walk me home.
Do you have anything coming up in the next weekends or whatever between now? What do you have coming up that you're going to be?
This weekend's a new one. It's always good to be in a new venue. Saturday, I will be right down the road, and you know where it is, at the Scottish Rite Auditorium in Collingswood. Somebody got it in their head to do a boxing show.
I didn't think they would do boxing there. I know there was always music.
First time ever. So I just, that's a 2-minute ride. Hey, that'll be great.
They probably got it inexpensive. That's why.
They had
a beautiful building, though.
Oh, yeah. Great place. I can't imagine they're doing it there, but they are. Well, so that's the first time.
Who's on the card? Who's on the card?
Just like a lot of local guys. Nothing. Half of them I don't even know. So I don't know where they got some of these guys for this. You know what I mean?
Who's promoting it?
And everything. So we'll see.
Right.
There's a local girl that's on the card, Jacqueline McTammany, her name is, and she's pretty tough girl. She's from Philly, from Northeast Philly. But it's a first time event being there, so that'll be kind of neat. But that early in that day, though, we're having a fundraiser for some kids to go to California for a tournament, for an amateur tournament, and we're going to have that at the VBA, the Veteran Boxers Association on Clearfield Street, that I also belong to, So we're doing that. It's like a $40 fundraiser. You get food, and food and drinks and everything. Kind of like a beef and beer thing, but they're doing all Italian food instead, which I like Italian food, But so that'll be a full day there, and then like Tuesday, like I said, there's something else going on, but that don't matter. it's my 30th wedding anniversary. So, that's a fight I've been in. I've been a fighter for 30 years now. And it's a fight I never win.
Now, you have any special plans for that day?
Actually, Sunday, not that day especially, but Sunday we are going out to have a nice meal. And my wife got us tickets to see Jersey Boys at the Walnut Theater.
That sounds wonderful. Well, I want to say, hey, I want to, thank you again for being on this for episode 2, and best wishes for your anniversary. And I know we always talk offline a lot. You keep sending me all these pictures to make these podcasts very fascinating. And we look forward to the new sponsorships coming up very soon.
Yes.
So any parting shots, anything else you want to say before we say goodbye on this one, Joe?
Like I said, always tune in. You never know what the heck's going to come out of my mouth. Number 1. Number 2, try and look up, if you're involved with it, if you like boxing, go on BoxRec. You can get on there and look up what's coming up, because there's always fights in the area coming up. People say to me all the time, like, "Oh, they still have boxing." What do you mean? Did it still have boxing? They better, because if not, my wife is going to wonder where the hell I am every weekend. Sometimes Friday and Saturday I'm somewhere. Between MMA, boxing, whichever you like. Muay Thai, anything. There's fights somewhere all the time, especially in the tri-state area. And a week from now, there'll be a big show at the Wells Fargo Center. Jerron Boots Ennis is the main event. He's the world champ from Philly. Second time now he's coming back for the second show that'll be done at the Wells Fargo Center. Last time the place, there wasn't a seat, empty. It was packed.
Who's promoting that?
Eddie Hearn, the guy who has DAZN, he does them all on DAZN. Eddie Hearn from England. So they're coming in, and it's a big show, and it's a big card. I have a few guys I'll be working with on that.
What's the date on that? What's the date on that?
November 9th.
Well, please have somebody if you can, have some people maybe take some video of you actually getting ready, going into the arena and all that, because that would be great footage we'd be able to show on the next one of the up and coming podcasts.
Yeah, we'll get some. There's always somebody with like I said, I hear stuff. I'm ready to pose.
And the thing is, you saw the way I was able to get some video just off the phone. So,
yes.
Joe, I appreciate this one. We'll look forward to the next ones and look forward to the sponsorships. And we'll be talking soon. So, and this is also, going to be on his social media, the YouTube page, Eye on the Prize. Make sure you go on there and like and subscribe. Let people know that you're going to be
looking for you.
Yes, exactly. So, Joey, thank you again. We'll be talking again soon, probably sometime next week after your anniversary. And we'll be talking soon again, buddy. Thank you.
All right.
Hey, Rocky.
Hey, how you doing?
Good to see you.
Yeah.
Hey, Rock, long time no see, brother. Still here, good.
Yeah.
Stallion's back. Hey,
It's like a party here.
yeah, right. Welcome back.
Yeah, thank you very much.
Here's Bill. Good. We make it come back.
No.
Hey, Chip.
Hey, Breed, what's up?
Didn't know you were coming back.
I didn't need it. I was just in the neighborhood. Done nice here. Place is looking good.
Next time, I was going to lead into that in the beginning. We got